Hello, Discovery and Cellar Collective. Welcome to your July collective. So we are in the deep heat of summer. So I hope that these wines will be perfect for you to drink now. Because it's July, I definitely wanted to get some rosé in your boxes for sure. But there's another reason why I wanted to get some rosé in your boxes is because while you're watching this or while you're grabbing your wines, I'm actually in Provence, France with a group. We're doing a group tour. So with my other company, I do tours to France. And so Provence is where it's at. So I'm in the Provence mood. And I thought, let's just feature this beautiful region in both our Discovery and Cellar Collective. So before we get into your individual bottles, let's talk about a little bit about the region itself, because I really feel that Provence is quite misunderstood. So don't get me wrong, it is rosé country. About 9 out of 10 of the bottles that leave the region are rosé bottles, but there's so much more to the region than that. It's a pretty massive wine region that is very diverse, and it's actually the oldest French wine region, or the wine region in France. So basically, it was established in 600 BC when Marseille was founded, and there were vines planted at that time. So if you think about it as well, it's about 1,000 years older than the establishment of Bordeaux. So we're talking lots of history. But what makes Provence unique is the terroir, because you have this wine region right on the Mediterranean Sea. And then right behind it, you have the Alpine or the Alps mountains. And then you have a couple of other factors that really affect the overall terroir or overall climate. One being about 2,800 hours of sun a year. And then also you have this crazy mistral, which is this wind that comes rolling down from the Rhone Valley. But this is a great piece to making sure the vines are disease-free and getting lots of airflow, even when you have a lot of that heat. So it's a very different sort of region that provides several different kinds of wines because of it. There's tons of different soils as well. So you have kind of this patchwork of limestone, schist, clay, some red rich iron soils. And then you have about 20 native grapes. So everything from your big players like Grenache, Sancerre, Syrah, Mourvedre to kind of smaller and lesser known grapes, which we will discover a little bit in the clubs today. And then finally, you have this thing that the French call la garrigue. And this is the wild kind of shrub land that you'll find of rosemary and thyme and lavender and juniper and pine. And you'll find this shrubland all around the vines, within the vines. And honestly, it gives your wine a very special Provence style to it. So we should discover that La Garrigue in pretty much every bottle that we do for the club in July. So that's a little bit about the Provence region. Let's get into your individual wines. Hello, Discovery Collective, and welcome to your red wine for your July collective. So this is a fun one to bring to you. It's a younger estate in Provence, but has a beautiful pedigree. So this is Domaine Triennes. This is their St. Auguste 2022. And this domain has been around since 1990. So that's fairly new compared to some other estates in Provence and Provence as a whole, as a wine region. But the pedigree is incredible here. So we're talking about 2 wineries in Burgundy coming together with this project. And that includes Jacques Seysses from Domaine Dujac and Aubert du Villain from Romanée-Conti. So these 2 powerhouse producers coming together, deciding that they wanted to start a project in the south of France. So we're not talking about a Burgundy wine in the south of France, but we are talking about a little bit this philosophy. So I think it's just something to think about when you are drinking this wine. So the winery is located in the Var, which is on the eastern side of Provence, just on the foot of the Saint-Baume mountain range. And so that's going to play a big key role into what you're drinking in the glass. They have about 40 something hectares, so about 115 acres of vines there. And these vines are located about 400 meters above sea level. So you have this great elevation for the wine. And that elevation is going to create kind of freshness and structure in your wine. But we are in Provence, so there's a lot of sunlight. So you get a lot of concentrated, a lot of ripe fruits from that sunshine. And then the soils are limestone and clay, so it's going to give you some minerality. And when we're talking about Burgundy in this place, we're talking about kind of the mindset and the philosophy. So we're talking low yields, sustainable farming, plot by plot vinification, and terroir focus in the wines. So even though this is a blend, everything's been vinified separately, and you really get a sense of terroir in this glass. And then I would say, one thing I wanted to say, just a little fun fact about the name is Triennes, and that comes from Triennia, which is a word in ancient Rome for celebration. And so it's kind of this ode to old Provence and kind of the roots of this region. So this is a blend of Syrah and Cab. Sometimes Merlot gets thrown into it based on the vintage, but this is the 2022 vintage, which was a hot, dry vintage, but quite classic, and provided kind of a nice amount of fruit and ripe fruit, but still well controlled and well balanced. So 65% Syrah, the rest Cabernet Sauvignon. And so we're talking again, vinified separately, fermentation in stainless steel, temperature controlled. That's in order to maintain that fruitiness, that freshness. And then for a year in oak, old oak barrels that were owned by Domaine Dujac, and that's really to create a little bit of depth, complexity, some structure in the wine as well. And just a really beautiful version of a red wine from Provence. So let's go ahead and give it a try. So we see on the color that it's this deep ruby color. And on the nose, I get a lot of black fruits, so like black cherry, blackberry, black currant. And I get like a cedar or also like a spice, so like a black pepper, probably coming from the Syrah. And then also kind of like the traditional Provence spices, so like rosemary, dried rosemary and thyme, maybe a little violet. And then this very hint of like minerality, but more on like the graphite side of it. Really nice. So I've actually decanted, or I didn't decant, I opened this bottle about 30 minutes ago. I think it's going to improve over time. It could be something that maybe I would decant for about 30 minutes or so before you open it, or before you enjoy it. And it's really beautifully balanced, which we had mentioned before. So it really makes sense, this Burgundian philosophy, because it is not heavy. It's a medium to full-bodied wine, but it's not heavy on the palate. It's quite lifted. The acidity is there. The acidity is driving that freshness that comes through in this wine, but you still get those beautiful like black fruits, black cherry, but also a little bit of red cherry, blackberry. I still get the spices and the cedar and all of that as well. And the tannins are there, but they're quite well integrated. They're not overpowering. They're sitting kind of just so beautifully on the palate, this nice grip, but not overpowering. And again, I think if we decanted it, it would soften just a little bit more. But it's really that acidity that's like leaving this lifted and quite beautiful. So I think it's a gorgeous red wine that you could enjoy now, but I think you could hold on to it for a couple of years as well. I think it would go great with lamb, ribeye, duck. It's quite versatile because you have those beautiful black fruits, but also that acidity. Riley's pairing is actually perfect with it, and I think you're gonna really enjoy this one. So cheers to you, and I hope you enjoy this red wine as much as I do.